We're going to dress up the back of my 2019 GT350 with a rear deck lid panel in carbon fiber from Ford Performance. This Ford Performance deck lid panel is going to fit any S550 Mustang, but it's designed to mimic the factory panel on the 2020 through 2022 GT500, hence the snake in the middle. Because of that snake though, I think it'll look just at home on my GT350, so let's get started with the installation. The deck lid panel is held on by 4 bolts and a bunch of clips. Now to get to everything though, we have to disconnect the camera first to remove the panel. So this panel has to come off. So remove all these little push pins, this cover plate, and unscrew the bumpers. This is the wiring harness here that goes to your backup camera. Simply squeeze and disconnect. Okay, the screws we have to remove are underneath this little plastic cover. Simply pull down the corner, it'll pop out. And there's gonna be 2 here, 2 on the other side. And just be careful, when you pull these screws out, you don't want to drop them down. So the screw's out, now we can remove the panel. Now there's gonna be clips, one here, and then 2 more on this side that hold it in place. Now I should mention, my car has the seated trunk poppers on it, so I'm actually using a ratchet strap to kind of hold it at this level to make it easier to work on. But basically what we're gonna do now is put some tape on here and then pop these clips and remove the panel. The clips are roughly in this area, a couple more in the middle than 1 on this side here. Once they start, they usually come off a little bit easier, but again, just carefully get in there, plastic pry bar. All right, so here you have a dilemma. There's 2 ways you can do this. These are the clips that basically attach to the deck lid panel and then clip into place. It's held on to the panel by these little teeth. And as you pull it out, these clips may come off of the panel. Normally they probably don't, they stay in here. So you have 2 options. You can actually get a small pair of pliers or a screwdriver and actually pry each of these out, or you can push the teeth in just slightly with a flathead screwdriver and take the new panel and just push it into the teeth to lock it in. I'm gonna go that way because I found it is easier. Another thing I wanna mention before I do this, if you see the edges here are kind of rounded, like it pulled out, because sometimes they get so tight, literally it bends the trunk lid, you wanna hammer those very carefully flat before you put the new panel on, or it's not gonna fit flush with the taillights and the rest of the trunk. As you can see, mine is nice and flat on all 4 of them. There's no issue there. So again, we can adjust the teeth in a little bit. Yeah, you want to push the teeth in, but you want to make sure there's enough tooth left to grab too. Problem is, if you don't push them in, you can actually damage the panel. Now these 2 in the middle here on either side of where the cutout is for your backup camera, these will have clips from the factory but not from the aftermarket, but you still want to make sure these are flat. You see how this is pulled out? This is what I was talking about with the other clips. These can pull out. If it is though, just grab something not marring and lightly tap it back in. Okay, before we install the new panel, now we gotta pop off the camera and move it over. Now we explained how the clips up here work, but you also want to make sure these two go underneath here when you push it on. This is what holds the bottom of it, and then obviously the screws go there. So the best thing to do is kind of lay it flat, and you'll sort of feel where it goes. Slide it up and then line up the little clips. Pull up on the bottom, make sure everything is seated. And remove our tape. Okay, now we're going to reinstall the screws. A light will come in handy here. You sort of want to look in there and line it up. Make sure you don't over crank these because you are screwing into carbon fiber. And now we can reinstall these little covers. And then grab the plug and you can plug in your backup camera. Now we can reinstall the cover. Don't forget to pull your release through here. Just line up a couple of these just to hold it in place, and then you can put the rest of them in. Reinstall the hinge cover and screw in the bump stops. And reinstall's finished. Now, while I can't say I recommend a Shelby taillight panel for your V6, EcoBoost, or even your GT, on the GT350, the GT500 panel looks just at home. As far as installation goes, it is pretty straightforward. Give yourself about an hour and a half to 2 hours and you'll be back on the road in no time.